guys, welcome back to Transits and Tactics. And by the way, happy Human Design New Year, because we are now in the gate that's considered a starting gate of the whole year cycle, which is really exciting. And you know what, they say, don't make any resolutions for the 1st of January, because usually people don't stick to these resolutions. Wait a few weeks, and this is exactly why we had such a challenging energy from like the gate 38 that we met the new year's, all the struggle, and then we had this other, the limitations, or just like questioning yourself, thinking about things, having little small breakthroughs. But what was lacking is the energy to take action. And I definitely feel like in the last few hours since this gate 41 transit began, there is more focus. So this is still not perhaps the week to actually jump into action. And here's why. The gate 41 is the gate called the gate of contraction, but it is the gate of fantasy. We have this energy and excitement about all sorts of potential possibilities. It's so easy to get excited this week, and it's so you can feel this sense of eagerness to start something new, right? But there's a lot of fantasies, right? So the gate is a gate of contraction. You need to focus a little bit and come back in order to understand what really requires your focus, that is going to be beneficial, that is going to have a great potential, and what is just, ideas for the sake of trying something new, because that's the influence of this, the fantasies. And are you spreading yourself too thin by focusing on too many things at a time? And in a way, I really liked the analogy of the contraction, the analogy with the gardener, like, or if you have a bonsai tree, imagine like, you have this like a little tree, but you have to come in and strategically chop some of the, leaves off so that it will take the form of, your vision for it. And this is exactly what we need to do with this starting energy. Not everything is worth our energy. Check in with your strategy and authority. Your body, your inner authority, it always knows what's correct, what's incorrect. But being aware that there could be too much excitement, obsessive focus on everything, we really need to come back a little bit into this focus. And we have also, at the same time, we have Earth in gate 31, which is the gate of leading and influence. And it's interesting because this is where all these ideas, right, and all these things, and we might want to express them so that we can influence others, and that can come across through a form of making promises and talking about things and then committing to things that later you might not be able to deliver on. So again, you have the strategy and authority, you have the way, a very simple way to see, are you entering this situation correctly? Are you entering these relationships correctly? Are you making your decision based on something that you have available energy for? And especially if you're a generator type, this is your sacral response. Do you have energy for this? You feel it in your body. It's just there. It's physical. For us projectors and other non-energy type, we still can sense this in terms of, maybe like not the energy as in physical energy to do this, because we lack a lot of that, but also maybe just energetically feeling like it's almost like feels like an invitation. It feels like a sparkle. If you're a manifestor, you feel like, okay, this is something I can get into. When your promises are backed up with that energy, then you will have the power to bring things into fruition. But if you don't have that energy, then you're talking for the sake of talking, and that gate of influence might nudge you to do that. And therefore, this is something, again, pull back, see what you're promising, see, especially in brainstorming, especially in discussing what is realistic. Remember, we have this gate of contraction. We can start great things. And I actually have an anniversary with this transit. 3 years ago, I started offering in my business a very small little offer, marketing blueprint by design reports. It's multi-page report with human design marketing suggestions that I've developed from scratch, and then a Zoom call with me. I actually sat on that offer for a year and a half. I just recently found a notebook where I outlined this offer sometime in 2021 or 2020, even end of that. And so it took me up until this starting energy to put it together, package it, put it online, and I got my first client as well that same week, and ever since that was a pivotal decision in my business. Now, I'm not talking about, that everyone who offers this specific type of offer, will succeed. This is not about that. This is about something that was correct for me, and it was my thing, and me taking the leap of faith, seeing this big vision, making this around what would I love to receive from me? That was a big question, right? And this really helped me to focus, and also focus on things that I could commit at that time. And then from, I think it started as 25 pages report, now it's like 50 pages report. There's a lot of things that I jumped into my own geeky self in human design, and then developed, my own vision how this could be implemented in marketing. And the blueprint actually grew. And I can't believe that it's been 3 years since, and it started on this energy. So if you have something, maybe you've been considering, last week, for example, we were asking ourselves with all the gate of limitation, we were asking, can I achieve this? So now this is the time that you can actually sense that, yes, perhaps let's give it a go. This is something new I haven't done before, but it's been on my mind. I know my limitations. Out of this contraction and out of these limitations, how can I shape it into the form I would love to see in the future? So good luck if that's something that you're focusing on right now. I think this is a fantastic, fantastic energy. And of course, another thing to mention is just the harmonious gate in your design. Now, 41, if you have gate 30, which forms the channel of recognition, then you are under this influence. So this is about desire for feelings. This is about the hunger for change, for difference, but connection as well. So this is something, you're looking for something new, you're looking for stronger experiences and emotional desires, but also you want to do it together. It's a kind of like a collective energy, because it's a sexual gate, gate 30. And gate 30 is also known as the gate of the clinging fire. So it's like obsessive feeling, and it could be a good or a bad feeling. I actually experienced it, I remember last year, because it's sometime early February that the transit goes through that, and I remember it's like obsessive thought, and you just like the fire that, if you see a burning man or person in the movies, and you can't get it off, right? So this can happen as well, and even if you don't have gate 30, this is what 41 is in a way looking forward. So there's always like, there's going to be thoughts and conversations about who you can do things with, who you can get inspired by. So it's not a completely solo energy right now, and I think it's kind of a good thing. So this is just an overview. Anita, how have you been? And happy Human Design New Year.
Yeah, happy New Year to you too as well. And by the way, guys, if ye are struggling with your message and wondering what to say, I would highly recommend Juliet's report. It's really, really good and gives you super tips with respect to your design. So it's not just a marketing report. It's things that when you read through it, you will actually enjoy doing because it's a part of who you're designed or how you're designed to do things, right? So definitely recommend it. So getting back to this energy, I really enjoy this energy. And I just want to put a different take this time on what you've been saying, because it's really powerful manifesting energy under certain conditions, right? So as we said last week, we did talk about the gate 41, and Pluto's still there next door. So we're having a transformation going on here of our perception of how to manifest. And Mercury is coming in next week into this energy. So how we communicate is different. So it's perfect time to be advertising your marketing, Margaret, or sorry, Juliet. But with this energy, it's about recognizing that when where you feel limited in your life is where you know you want to change things. And with this gate 31, you're going to wonder, are you good enough? Is it okay for you to take charge? Who do you think you are to take charge? Because the 30, the 30, you need the passion to push it through, because it is something that probably hasn't been done before, shared before by you. So it does take a significant amount of courage. So the combination of these energies this week is like setting a fire under us to to really take the action of that thing that we have been thinking about for ages, right? It's really good.
Mm.
And with that energy, like it's all there for us to do that. The low end of this is the potential of, because Pluto's still in gate 60, I need to add this. You might be holding on to old ways of being and not allowing for growth. But the limitation is telling you need to grow, right? So you reach the tipping point of, I'm actually frustrated enough with things being the same to overcome my fear of moving forward, right? It's a really key point in your manifesting. The second thing is the potential with this energy to, as Juliet said, build fantasies, build ideals or expectations about what you want to create. And when it doesn't work out that way, ending up in an emotional crash about it. So a brilliant example of this was my son. He had my actually kids maybe born from 97 to maybe 2001 will have this energy. And you'll find that they might be struggling to decide what to do with their lives moving forward right now. And with that, but he used to get the box of Lego in the toy store and he'd look at it and he'd see the helicopters flying and he would make them and try to make them fly and they would drop to the ground and he'd be there, oh, and like that's a very simple version of the crash. Oh my God, I'm so disappointed. But that disappointment energy can snowball and stop your manifesting moving forward. So it's important to be aware of that. And yet at the other side of it, when you bring in a perspective, a reality check, it can work out great. Um, the big thing here with this energy is potentially, again, as Juliet said, being hyper focused, but imagining worst case scenarios and being focused on them. And literally um, not allow yourself to step into your leadership with this and potentially be afraid even to share your new options or your new
Mm.
ideas in case people think that you're crazy or too dreamy or you're too unrealistic, Pollyanna. So it's an interesting start gate that you actually do need the passion to bring it forward. I
I
love
love
this.
that. Yes, exactly. And you know what, talking about the feedback, if you have it, this is where this kind of energy, you could get a feedback from people, about being, heads in the clouds, too dreamy, but you have to also ask yourself who is giving you this feedback. And I feel like this is beyond human design. And it's at the same time, it's really human design related and it's beyond it. It's about who is correct for you, who is energetically, who recognizes you. And you don't have to be a projector in order to require recognition to share something, like so most of the things that we share, especially kind of odd things, when we share them to wrong people, to the audience that is not interested, that don't understand, closed-minded to this specific aspect of what you're trying to do, of course they're going to label you as something like outsider, and all the horrible things. So ask yourself how relevant these people are. But there also could be people who are very relevant. Maybe you have a coach or a mentor, or someone like a sounding very trusted sounding board person in your life. This is the time where you can talk out loud with these fantasies and ideas and whatever you have, and get actually a very realistic feedback. Because when we're speaking, and this is what I mentioned about, do you have the energy with everything you're talking about and the promises? Because promises are not always to other people. Sometimes it's a promise to yourself, like you made all these plans, resolutions, and are you going to fulfill this? So the other person can pick on your energy, whether it's flat or whether it's actually, we can sense each other as well. So it's a very good time to talk things through. But then of course you can get feedback, but A, if they're relevant, yes, listen to this. But B, your strategy and authority will tell you always what to do, because trust in this energy, trust is like, put it in big words everywhere you can see. You have to trust it. That's what happened to me 3 years ago. It was very scary. It was a decision. I actually stopped that year. I didn't launch any programs. I mean, I had programs that my clients renewed, the ongoing accelerator mentorship, but I didn't actually launch anything. It was very scary. All I did was this one offer. I had to trust. Guys, it was so scary. It was really scary. I've never been so insecure in my business, even though I had worse financially years. And yet it worked out. Because
You do,
sometimes when we stick to something, and this is what this energy is asking you, what can you focus
yeah.
on that you can stick with?
But it's not just that. It's just it's scary because you're stepping into a bigger level of taking charge of your work and what you want to share. So that's the gate 31. So you're
Yes.
literally describing a perfect practical example of this energy, that it is scary. And there's always going to be a sense of crisis before you move into something new. And it's just realizing that a lot of gurus or a lot of people will tell you, oh, if it feels any way uneasy at all, don't do it. I'm kind of there. You're moving out of your comfort zone. Of course, it's not going to feel, comfortable. It's a dance between, is there a bear there with this fear? Because if there's no bear, you're probably taking a step to move forward. And, once you do it and realize you're not dead at the other side, it gives a perspective.
You know what I find that even with these fears, because the fear is kind of like one general label, right? But when you learn about your human design, and this is where not just learn, when you live the human design experiment, which is, following your strategy and authority, but you also are aware. So I know, for example, that my son is in gate of confusion. Everything is bloody confusing while the change is happening. And then I have my Chiron is in gate 3. That is constant extreme changes. Like last time we were recording this video, we were explaining this energy. If you have this 360 channel, it's like changes are dramatic. And going through that is not easy. But when you know that this is the confusion and this kind of stuckness and everything, this is actually part of the process, and then in hindsight it all makes sense, then trusting becomes a little bit easier from the logical perspective, because one thing is what we have in our bodies, how we can naturally trust, but the other thing is how we rationalize it, how our mind tries to explain. So I think that learning human design is more about, in a way, kind of manipulating your mind into giving it the correct information to stop sabotaging us, because now you know why, and you have a little bit more mental strength and just stamina to go through these experiences. And I wrote an article maybe last year or the year before last about staying in your comfort zone, because there's a comfort zone as in your design, what is aligned with you, what is good for you, and then outside that zone a lot of people say, oh yeah, you need to push your comfort zone, and we push ourselves into the where there is resistance, where there's frustration, where it's not aligned with our course, right? That's not the kind of comfort zone that we should be pushing, really, no matter how brilliant Tony Robbins and all them people are, right? But there's another comfort zone that needs to be pushed all the time. And it's more about the transformation, the change, the growth, because that is part of what we're here to experience. That's actually all we're here to experience is some sort of lesson. So we're growing through this lifetime experience. And it's really good to remind yourself and also distinguish between these two kind of comfort zones. What are you pushing and how does it feel? And your strategy and authority is so perfect. It's tiny little ways, just awareness of how to make decisions. And it just life changing. You literally change the way you are and you relax so much into life. And this isn't it what we what we look for in business, for example, in marketing. We're all looking for ease, but nothing is just easy straight away. First you have to go through this period of confusion, and I'm telling you as someone carrying this message of confusion, right? Going and trusting. And so that's what happens. But this is such a great week today, this few days, to focus on, okay, this is what is my feeling. Today I was doing some journaling, and I didn't want to write a plan. I didn't want to have like a business plan for 2025. It kind of feels irrelevant already, you know. But what feels right is to check in with, what do I want this year to feel? I'm using this word feel, and I'm realizing this is the influence of gate 30, the desires and the feelings, right? But what do I want this year to feel? What do I want to feel and experience this year? And what does need to happen for this to be more? And I feel like this is a very good time. So if that's something that works for you, like I have a completely open will center, I can't sit down and set targets and, maybe do what I did. And it was such a great, just gave me so much comfort and so much almost conviction inner conviction that yes, it might be hard it's at times. Yes, it might be confusing. Yes, I might be sucking at, I'm starting a dog training course. It's very overwhelming. So I know I'm going to be so bad at it, but that's okay because someday I will be good at it if I stick to it. So this is such a wonderful, I'm delighted this course is starting under this transit because now I know for sure it's going to be a success.
Yeah, that's so true. And if you think about it, Pluto is in this area of 60. It's moving into the gate 41 at the end of the month, just next week, and it's going to be there until 2028. So really, what if you've had struggles or difficulties with new beginnings, if past failures have put you off or made you more reticent to make a new change or to start something new, the energy is there. This Pluto energy is there to help you to transform how you start things so that they are connected with your inner yes, and so that you can move forward, as Juliet said, based on what brings aliveness to you, what resonates with you, rather than doing all this rubbish that we were told we should do that just shuts us down, right? That drains the life out of us. So we are being moved through a beautiful time of learning how to make changes, learning how to let go, so that we're moving from expectation. Expectation usually means it's been done before, and I'm, using this as my reference point, to the true scientific approach of anticipation. Ooh,
Yes.
I'm going to try this. What kind of result am I going to get? And you can feel your energy change as soon as
Mm.
you do that. And that is where we grow from this. So the manifesting is going to change, but in a very positive way.
I love it. I'm really actually looking forward to this now, next few years, and exactly with this approach. What we will find out, what are we going to experience? Let's explore this rather than having reference points that probably are out of date because so much is changing cosmically, energetically, politically, economically. Everything is changing, not necessarily in a bad way, even though it might sound or feel really, really bad right now. But again, stick to it. This is just the period of confusion. Everything is going to work out at the end, right? And I love it. It's like the Great Marigold Hotel, that wonderful movie when the guy says everything's going to be all right at the end. And if it's not all right, it's not yet the end. And we will leave you guys with this little blessing and see you on the next video of transits and tactics. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.